An anonymous guy named Ryoshi launched Shiba Inu with zero funding, zero pre-sale, and then gave away half the entire supply to Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum's founder. Then, our favorite Vitalik burned $6 billion worth of Shiba. Sounds insane, right? But this is why we love him so much. Anyway, Shiba is now treated like a legitimate financial asset by the US government, but it still trades 95% lower than its all-time high. That's why I think Shiba can print millionaires, and today we're breaking down the tokenomics, the ecosystem, the real risks, and the exact math on how many SHIB tokens you would need to hit the $1 million goal. Let's get into it, guys. This is not financial advice, always do your own research. In August 2020, an anonymous figure calling himself Ryoshi launched Shiba Inu with no funding and no pre-sale. He gave away half the entire token supply to Vitalik Buterin, and these were tokens that nobody really expected to ever move again. But good guy Vitalik actually donated over $1 billion to a charity, and after that, he burnt the rest of his tokens, which were worth $6 billion. His reason, in his words, was, "I don't want to be a locus of power of that kind." Fair enough, I say. Bringing back the focus on Shiba, Ryoshi later stepped away entirely, handing the reins to the community and a lead developer known as Shitoshi Kusama, who still guides the ecosystem today actually. The chain itself runs on Ethereum with the following multi-token system. SHIB is the currency, Leash is a supporting companion token, Bone is for technology, and Treat is for rewards and access. The ecosystem has its own decentralized exchange as well, named Shiba Swap. Just a word again on the May 2021 Vitalik burn though, because it effectively cut supply and sent the price up sharply. Some of you may remember the meme coin mania that peaked in November 2021 when SHIB briefly overtook Dogecoin as the largest meme coin by market cap and, in fact, crossed 1 million holders. 5 years down the line, however, SHIB trades at 95% away from its all-time high with a market cap of around $2.5 billion. Definitely worth exploring as a coin that could bring us millions of dollars if we play our cards right. We start the deep dive with the tokenomics, of course. Shiba Inu launched with a total supply of 1 quadrillion tokens. So far, 41% has been burned, and the core mechanism is actually quite simple. Burn tokens, shrink supply, hope demand does the rest. SHIB's burns come from 2 places in particular. 1, manual burns where for a small reward anyone can send tokens to a dead wallet through ShibaSwap's burn portal, and the Shibarium burns, that's 2, where a slice of network fees gets converted and sent the same way. One spikes on hype, the other scales with actual usage. However, the problem is scale. According to SHIB Burns Live Tracker, the network burned about 3.5 SHIB in the last 24 hours, worth roughly $15. Over the last 30 days, total burns added up to nearly 114 million tokens, worth about $517. Out of a supply of nearly 590 trillion tokens, that's such a small fraction that, at the current pace, it would take more than 4,000 years just to burn through 1% of existing supply. But the good thing is that there's no vesting cliff to worry about and no early investor unlock event, because there were never any investors to begin with. Every token in circulation has been either publicly traded or held by the community since day one. Tokenomics is one thing, but the ecosystem itself is also very important. So here's what's actually happening on-chain. Shibarium crossed 1 billion cumulative transactions in April 2026, and SHIB's hold account passed 1.5 million wallets the same month. ShibaSwap and NFT lending platform Mantra remain the network's main DeFi apps, alongside the Shiba Eternity game for NFT holders. Now, the honest picture includes this. Shibarium's total value locked looks like it's dead. At its peak, it was over $6 million, but now it's sitting at the measly 24,000, a tiny fraction of SHIB's own multi-billion dollar market cap. This one, I admit, is a bit of a red flag and we have to pay attention to it. Then, security has also been tested. In September 2025, an attacker used a flash loan to acquire millions of Bone tokens, compromised validator signing keys, and drained nearly $3 million. The Team froze operations, rotated every validator key, and recovered part of the stolen funds as it relaunched the bridge weeks later with a 7-day withdrawal delay. On the regulatory side, there's real news too. On March 17, 2026, the SEC and CFTC jointly classified Shiba Inu as a digital commodity, the same category as Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin, rather than a security. That's a meaningful reduction in legal overhang for a coin that spent years in the gray zone. But just because the regulatory risk is mostly out of the way, it doesn't mean that there are no other significant risks related to Shiba Inu. First, the utility. Shibarium exists, but the total DeFi activity across the network has shrunk to a few tens of thousands of dollars locked. For a token carrying a multi-billion-dollar market cap, that's basically nothing. Then there's centralization. Despite the no CEO, no company origin story, the Shibarium team can still freeze wallets, roll back state, and unilaterally decide who gets blacklisted. That happened during the bridge exploit. Remember, it's useful when things go wrong, sure, but it means the network isn't as decentralized as the founding myth suggests. Ultimately, a small team still holds real control. Not to forget also that the Shiba Inu security has failed, as the attacker I mentioned has compromised validator keys and drained millions in ETH, SHIB, and other tokens from the Shibarium bridge. Most of what was stolen then was never recovered. And under all of it is the sentiment. SHIB moves on Elon Musk tweets and meme coin mood more than anything happening on chain. The same force that built this coin in 2021 may never appear again, or just as easily tear it down to zero. We're almost ready to run the numbers of the Millionaire math now, but we need a bit of historical context on the price first. SHIB launched in August 2020 at a fraction of a cent, and after the Vitalik burn, it rocketed to an all-time high in October 2021. Since then, however, it's been in a brutal, prolonged decline, hitting a new multi-year low. Today, it trades around 95% since its all-time high at the price of $0.504. This will be our reference point for the 3 millionaire scenarios, and we are kicking off with the bear case at this price for a return of over 2x today. That's a partial recovery, well below prior highs, with a fully diluted valuation around $5.9 billion. To reach the million, you would need 100 billion SHIB today, costing approximately $430,000 today. A bit pricey, I admit, but that's why we also have the other two scenarios. Here's the base case, doubling our first price target for a return that approaches 5x. The projected FDV then is about $11.8 billion, which is in line with a real broad meme coin recovery. You would need to get 50 billion SHIB, costing around $215,000 today to hit that million later. The cherry on top, guys, is our bull case with 4 times the price target of the base case. In other words, that's simply reclaiming the all-time high, bringing 20x from current levels. The FDV goes to around $50.7 billion, making our $1 million portfolio target that much more achievable. Roughly 11.6 billion SHIB will be required, costing what? Approximately $50,000 today. 50k for $1 million, that's as sweet as it gets if you ask me. So that's the math on Shiba Inu, guys. But just think about this for a moment. An anonymous developer gave away half of the coin's supply to Vitalik, who then burned and donated billions of dollars of it for charity. That crazy and noble stunt made headlines, built a community that's stuck around for 5 years, and Shiba ultimately got the US government's blessings as a legitimate digital asset. That's all pretty good, but will this token reach its previous fame and all-time highs again? Or have these meme coins, the legacy meme coins like Shiba, given way permanently to what's hot today? Ansem, Cashcat, and the likes? Tell me what you think on this one in the comments below, and I'll be sure to read all of them. If this analysis of Shiba Inu helped you at least a bit, hit the like button, subscribe to the airdrops.com channel, and join me again next time. I'm Stan, and I thank you for watching. Ciao.